We're live.
What? No, we're not live. We never go live without the effing music. Where's?
You want that?
Play the GDM.
Here's Jack. Here's Jack. Here's Jack. Here's Jack. Here's Jack.
That was fun. I cut you off. You were like, that's what I use the theme for it. It's just
It was like,
you know.
it was like Larry David.
Oh my goodness.
I get
So what's going
whiplash
on?
every time I listen to that GD song by Terry Sweet. It is so good, so good.
All
so
these initials,
good.
all these initials just pouring out of you.
I can spell it out if you want.
No, that's not.
Hey, there's a lot going on. It's that time of the year.
It is
Even
that
here,
time of
there's
year.
there's a lot of stuff going on.
Whew.
It's like we are like a festival accordion.
Yeah.
Usually, there's all this time, and nobody wants to be here in the middle of winter, and then we get summer and
Boing.
everything boing, just like the sun.
Festival accordion.
Hoop-de-doo is a good one. So, what you have anything, or should I just start rattling?
I would just rattle.
All right. Tonight, Cedarburg Art Museum, good band,
The
good food truck.
booze now.
beer.
What's that's the food truck? Do you know?
No, doesn't matter.
It does matter.
Wow,
Matters quite a bit.
I've never heard you take a stand before.
Hey.
The spineless jellyfish has gone away. He swung away. He shed his skin.
I will
God.
deliver a speech to Congress over this if I have to.
It does matter. Okay. Tomorrow, Summer Sounds.
Yes.
Have you heard of it? It's an Americana dude.
Yeah.
Will Hoge. Have you heard of him?
Yeah, I have heard of him. Hogue.
Hogue. Okay, he's going to
Yep.
be there tomorrow. And there are a lot of food trucks.
And it matters.
Yeah, I've been running into Doc everywhere around town.
Yeah.
Every time I turn around, there he is. And he's like, yeah. And I said, we're doing the show. Yeah, I'm doing this editing for Jeff. And he is a true Cedarburg gem.
He is.
He really is. He is. And he puts out that shaky fist pump.
Absolutely.
He gives you the
And it
pump.
matters.
I'm so lucky I haven't seen Jose Ramon lately. That's great.
Don't worry, day's not over.
Yeah, I know. But then this weekend, we've talked about this before, Strawberry Festival. Are you going to take anybody special to the Strawberry Festival?
I'm going to avoid the Strawberry Festival with someone special, but I'm not going to take anyone.
Okay, just so everybody knows, the official hours are Saturday 10 to 6, Sunday 10 to 5. Saturday night, it's no longer the who's the Weasley ambulance chaser.
Is it one call? That's all.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's no longer the main stage guy. It is Foxtown Brewery main stage now.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
Cool. Excellent.
And this is the other thing. So
David Gruber.
David Gruber. Everybody around here knows parking is fucking possible on those weekends.
In what?
And, yes, it is.
Mm.
And the thing is, did you know, Bulldog, that there are free parking shuttles you can park at the Cedarburg High School, you can park at
that's
the
nice.
Kawasaki Ice Center.
Well, that's
park,
is that new?
Yeah, I think. Well, I
must
don't
be
know.
new.
I parked at Circle B. You can
Wow.
park at the Quilt
That's a big
Museum.
lot. That's a very big lot.
You know anybody at the Quilt Museum? They have free parking there too, and you can get a shuttle from there. There's 4
Okay.
spots.
Man.
That's pretty nice.
And the shuttle will take you right into the heart of the Berry Fest?
Yes,
Okay.
evidently. Yeah,
That's pretty sweet, actually. I don't recall them offering that before.
Speaking of sweet, on
idea.
Sunday morning, all you can eat strawberry pancakes from.
Now that I approve of.
I thought you might. From 8 until 11, only 3 hours though. So you got to get in there early.
Is Miss Meat coming this year?
The festival is always a meat market. Let's face it.
True.
Unfortunately, it's a lot of meat that should never be shown in public, but that doesn't seem to inhibitions go out the window with the first
They do.
strawberry slushy.
That's very true. Very
I'm
true.
like, all this pink skin.
I always like it. I'm sweating my sweat off and putting someone else's on.
Oh man, you have not lost your gift for being disgusting. And the other thing, two terms that Wisconsinites love to hear.
Yes.
Entry into the festival is
free,
and there are lots of open alcohol booths. So
there's
between the two,
they like all of those words.
All those words, you betcha. And did you also know the holiday weekend starts this weekend because Grafton's having the holidays.
Yeah.
DAZE.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know,
clever.
amazing how good they are at driving. You know, not on the sidewalks during holidays.
Driving a stake through our heart with puns. Saturday, it's June 28th. At Lime Kiln Park, that's where there's going to be a parade starting at 4 p.m. It's going to end up at Lime Kiln, and the fireworks are going to be shot off from over there too. So that's going on Saturday, and also Mequon-Teensville, not to be outdone.
Never.
It's not Tenthville because they didn't allow that.
No, they can't do that.
Fun before the 4th.
Yes,
it is.
That was big. That's been around forever.
10:30 a.m. There's a parade. What I like about this one, and I mean, I'm serious. Thiemsville, that little park they have in there, tucked back in there, it's a great park.
It's cool.
It's right on the river. They got a little stage in there. It's a nice setup. And I think they're even having water ski shows and stuff all during the day. So
is there water? Is there water
in the river?
Okay.
Yeah. What are you?
I just thought they were doing water ski shows and no one told them that there's no body of water. You're just gonna carve up the grass.
Are we on next week?
Yeah, sure. I wouldn't miss it.
Okay, because next week, Wednesday, we'll miss this the first time ever. The Rotary Music Festival, where they have all these DCI marching bands on parade. Mm-hmm. 6 of the world's best. It's on Wednesday night, the 2nd. Usually it's on the 3rd. This year it is on the 2nd, starting at 7 o'clock. You can't get tickets there. You have to order them ahead online. DCI.org/events. DCI is the Drum Corps International. Rotary Music Fest, the 2nd of July instead of the Patty and Mike. You know, Mike had a heart incident. Did you understand that?
Yeah,
he's back in action, and they are emceeing the Rotary Music Festival on the 2nd and the parade on the 4th.
Ooh, that's a lot of emceeing.
Yeah, it is. I think Patty. Well, I know Mike is up to it, but Patty is really up to it. She's got her voice in tip-top shape. So there is a lot going on. Also, this week is Summerfest.
That's going on too. Yeah.
So there's a lot. I don't know who's playing this weekend.
Oh, probably. You know, I saw Rick Springfield was here recently. Huge.
He still draws a crowd, from what I understand.
The ladies.
The
ladies like him.
Well, you are an expert on what the ladies are liking. So if you approve, look out, chicks. Bulldog's in the house.
Exactly.
Whoa.
Well, there we are. Nothing but the best. So cool. Excellent.
Yeah, a lot of stuff going on.
We did pretty good. We've got yes,
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, don't forget, you can pick up your copy of the Cedarburg Authors Circle Volume 1, the book that Jack and I are both in. They decided to have us. That's amazing.
Thanks again for putting me both the night of the speaking and in the book right after Carla Luna, the most prolific writer in the history of Cedarburg. Thanks a lot. Really fucking appreciate it. So
that wasn't intentional.
Oh yeah. It ain't alphabetical. I noticed that. Because Messerman comes after Luna. And I think that's how it would have worked out if it would have been.
What do you think this is, gym class? Do you think this is shirts and skins? What are we talking about here?
It better not be shirts and skins. That's going to be this weekend. Yeah.
Anyway,
Okay. What was that lady? She was fanning those poor warm people.
yeah, they were very warm. Yes.
I want to know, with
Please.
all of these, whether it's holidays or Fun Before the 4th or
Mhm.
Maggie Dobson's little shindig on the 4th when she has the parade, and then
Yeah.
at night. Oh, Mr. Bob is the
Oh,
Grand Marshal this
Grand
year.
Marshal, fantastic. Yes.
Yes. So he.
But let's not ever lose sight of who was the inaugural Grand Marshal.
Well, I told Bob we set the bar pretty low. It's going to take some pretty good limbo
to get lower is really hard.
all these, the 4th of July, a lot of fireworks everywhere, and they all say the same thing, and it's not good enough. They all say fireworks at dusk.
Yeah.
What is dusk?
I have to deal with that this weekend. I'm going to the Dusk Till Dawn Horror-a-thon in Sterling,
not.
Illinois. I am. Yes, Saturday night. They're doing a John Carpenter retrospective in Central Illinois at the Midway Drive-In, which is a beautiful drive-in, by the way. And we start with The Thing from 1982. We move on to Halloween, 1978. We move on from there to Prince of Darkness from 1987 or so. And we'll wrap it up with Assault on Precinct 13 from about 1975. So if we're still conscious.
Who's going?
Myself and my lunatic horror movie cohort from Trivers. So, yeah.
Zach?
Again?
Is that your son, Zach?
Not Zachy. No. No, Bert. My friend Bert.
Oh, God.
Yeah, we've been we've been hanging out since the Betamax days. So it's great fun. We went last year too, and it was great. And it starts at dusk. So you asked the question, and I would you like me to text you when dusk hits in Sterling?
No.
Okay.
First of all, question.
Please.
You went last year?
Yeah.
It's not an all nighter.
It's pretty damn close.
What time does
dusk, Jack? Dusk.
What time did the last show start or end?
Well, we didn't make it. We didn't make it.
What?
No, we tapped out around the middle of the third movie.
Then do you drive back?
No, he's got like the platinum card, Hilton, whatever. He's doing.
Oh,
doing
I thought
pretty
you were
good.
going to say you're going to camper. Okay.
No, we don't do that. No. That's for the proletariats.
Because
the proles can do that.
Because see here.
Yes.
There are actually 3 definitions of dusk.
Okay.
There is the civil dusk, which is when the sun is 6 degrees below the horizon.
Okay.
Then there is nautical dusk.
Oh.
When the sun is 12 degrees below the horizon. Horizon.
Yes.
Horror, in your case, a horror horizon.
Indeed.
And then there's astronomical dusk,
dusk,
which is 18 degrees below the horizon.
I suspect for a drive-in movie, we're going to go with astronomical. It's got to be pretty dark.
How long will it take you to drive?
It's a 3-hour. That's a 3 hours from Saukville.
Oh.
It's got air conditioning.
Not during the movie.
We got it. No, and I'm a little worried about that. I think we went last year in September, and actually it was like a picture-perfect, flawless night because it's a Christmas in the air, and that was fine. No skeeters. I feel like I looked at the dew point, as they say, and it's like 78% for Saturday night. That sounds swampy to me. So we're gonna have to lather up in some kind of anti because I don't want to give a pint to Sterling, So
You're nuts.
Yeah,
So,
it might be. Well, anything for the pictures.
Well, I'm gonna corner Maggie Dobson and find out when dusk. What does that mean?
You're gonna corner Maggie Dobson. She could kick your butt from one end of Washington Avenue to the other.
I don't care. I have to. When it's something this important, you got to find out.
Next episode of the Jack Henke Show. Jack is in traction.
I don't want to be around all those sweaty people and mosquitoes for a minute before dusk. Maybe a minute before dusk, but I don't want to be there at
You're trying to hedge your bets, is what you're trying
Civil
to
dusk.
do.
I don't want
Okay.
to be there at civil dusk if it's not going to go on until astronomical dusk.
It sounds like uncivil dusk is what you're trying to avoid.
Civil unrest at
Okay.
dusk.
Yes.
I'm going to be.
You realize, of course,
I'm going to be fomenting it.
you realize, of course, this is Cedarburg, and everyone's got their chalk and tape and chairs ready to go. So you're fighting a hurricane right now. You're fighting a whirlwind.
I don't give a rat's. This is important.
Yeah, your plan is everyone else's plan. You know that, right?
No, they're down there having a good time, supporting Lions, doing good
Right.
things, which is great. And the 4th is on a Friday this year. Do you go to fireworks? Are you a fireworks fan?
My kids have outgrown them. Ergo, I've outgrown them.
Does the Villa of Sauk have any fireworks?
We do is actually we get together in the park and we do this. We go like that and then like that and it looks like fireworks. That's all we can afford. So, oh, ooh. So, it works pretty well.
I'd forgotten. You're not Stranger Thing. You're the strangest thing. That's what you are.
You're just saying that to make me feel good.
Yeah, that's why I'm here.
We're joining the James Monroe. The Midnight Ramblers are playing Saukville this year.
Show the groupies.
Yeah, the groupies. Oh yeah, this guy here won.
Oh God.
So that's Saukville, 4th and Saukville.
All right.
Good stuff. But yeah, I'll be at the drive-in Saturday night. And
Of course you will.
Yeah, I'm excited. 4 minutes to showtime. Get to the snack bar. Try their amazing pizza.
See, if you knew exactly what dusk they were going to start playing at, you could plan your pizza run around it.
That's true. Well, yeah. The snack bar is great. It's like a hot lunch line. I have everything that hot lunch.
They give you little trays like that too.
They do.
You want wax beans with that?
They got a
Good
cigarette in the lip, and they're like, have more, have more ham dingers. Fun times. Hey, we got Dr. Ben coming up. And,
Yep.
I love a good Dr. Ben lead-in by saying the word hamdinger.
Oh, man. I didn't bring out my Cheez-Its. He was so wound up I couldn't even do that. I thought his head was going to explode just on the coffee. I got it. I saved the box. Marvin said, "Are you going to have that box up here forever?" She comes upstairs to me.
If you kill him on the show, we can't have the show anymore. So yes, I'm glad
Ben was on a roll as usual. Had some good things to share, and there's a little. Speaking of fireworks, there's some at the end, so there's a lot to enjoy in this.
I hear if you're a coffee fan, this is a good one to tune into.
It is. He has 4 cups of coffee a morning.
That's it, huh? Well, lightweights everywhere.
All right, dude.
Yeah. We will be back next week on July 3rd, I suppose,
Yep.
right? Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. And we'll discuss more
I'll see if I can get an answer out of Maggie on the dusk thing.
Yeah, please do. Maybe we should have her on to discuss the dusk thing.
Oh, she would. You know how patient she is when you get silly.
Yes, let's do that because she hasn't.
I will invite her.
She hasn't kicked us around in a long
She's got
time.
nothing going on in the 3rd and 4th.
No.
That's like your slow time.
It's the best time to ask the Chamber of Commerce director to
Poke.
to a
Speaking of
wackadoodle
which,
show.
The Dogfather says, "Poke the scab, poke."
Yeah. Yeah, how's he doing, by the way?
Actually,
On the right track?
No, he's back. He's on now. He's on the way back in. He had a different hospital stay.
Oh boy,
Couldn't figure out exactly what's going on, but now he's back at a rehab center, which is good. On the way back at Lasada in Cedarburg.
Oh, okay.
So there are a lot of angry, skinny, hungry, hangry dogs in Cedarburg with the Dogfather not on patrol.
There's so many depressed dogs. I see them. They just have that look when they get to the Java house.
Hang dog.
Who?
Yeah.
Where? So.
Stupid.
All right. Yeah, exactly. All right, everybody. Here's Dr. Ben and Jack. You know both, and they are going to.
Ben liked the intro again, so it's getting to be a challenge.
Turn your volumes down if you're at work. All right, here we go. Dr. Ben.
Yep.
Thank you, everybody.
Goodbye.
is time. It's time for the BQ. Did you know that BQ stands for becquerel, which is a measure of radioactivity? Did you know that, Ben Quist?
No, I definitely didn't. Definitely did not know that.
And since we're talking about radioactivity and radioactive, there's a song by the Imagine Dragons called Radioactive.
I have heard that one.
Do you know what that song is about, BQ?
No.
It is about becoming self-empowered and rising above. It's a masculine and primal song about conjuring and rising above human weakness. You know what that sounds like to me, BQ?
What?
Fitness. It sounds like health and fitness, rising above weakness.
I love it. I love it. Yes.
So the dots are connecting. So the DQ, it's summertime. People are talking about DQ, which is Dairy Queen, which is fine. But we have BQ, which is the fitness king. And with no more ado, it is time for BQ Bet Quiz.
Oh my gosh, your introductions just keep getting more elaborate each time. More and more. I love it.
You're so deserving. You are the BQ. Rules over the DQ. How you doing, Dr. Ben?
I'm pretty good. Yeah, summer's starting off great. So loving being outside a little bit more. And yeah, everything's going well.
Excellent. What do you want to talk about this week?
Well, today I wanted to talk about an interesting conversation I had with a local doctor who I really respect. And she works with a lot of people on lifestyle adjustment. And she had this big board up in her office. And she had all the different eating styles that she potentially helps her clients with, to have them switch to a more healthier eating style. So as she works with patients, she tries to get them to eat healthier, move more, many of the same things that I do. Mm-hmm. So she had up on her big whiteboard, she had the Mediterranean diet, mm-hmm. She had the vegan diet, she had the whole food plant-based diet, she had the carnivore diet. So she had, I think that was the 4 that she had up there.
Okay.
These are the approaches that she sometimes, counsels her clients towards. And she made an interesting statement. She said the whole food plant-based diet is the hardest one to implement with her clients. And I found that to be really like an interesting statement. Like, why is that so hard? Why is it easier to implement a carnivore diet or easier to implement a vegan diet or the Mediterranean diet than it would be to implement a whole food plant-based diet? So I just thought that was an interesting comment. I find it so easy to implement it, and I find it such a natural fit, that I'm wondering if there's just some confusion as to what a whole food plant-based diet really is. Like, I feel like people are just confused about it, and I'm really going to be looking into doing some content for like my YouTube channel on really trying to get at those pain points that people have when they try to switch to a more unprocessed diet. And I'm also going to be interviewing that doctor specifically on what she has seen when she tries to implement it with clients. Where are they falling off? Where are the problems happening with that? So Jack, let's start off by having you describe. I mean, you've listened to me babble on about nutritional stuff for a long time. What do you think a whole food plant-based diet is?
Well, whole food to me would be like potatoes, sweet potatoes, and fruit, things that you get that are not like anything you get directly from the earth, I would think would be plant-based. I don't know a lot about, I'm learning more about you, about plants having protein, because I think that's a hang-up that people might have with a plant-based diet. I also think, Ben, so that's what I would say. I want to answer your question first. My answer is like real stuff. Like, you go to a vegetable stand, you get the stuff, not stuff that's like orange juices into whole food and oranges, that kind of thing. I know that that's a pretty simplistic view, but that would be my answer.
Yeah, that's a pretty good answer. I think you did pretty good with that. And really the crux of a whole food plant-based diet is that the food is less processed or not processed at all. It doesn't mean that you never eat anything that has a little bit of processing, like a pasta might be processed a little bit to create pasta, but it just means that you're trying to eat as little processed food as possible. And one of the interesting things with that is that every single diet that produces health in a human being, whether it's, the Mediterranean diet or a vegan diet or whole food plant-based diet, all of those diets, the one really kind of broad commonality is that they limit ultra processed and highly processed foods, and that's where I always get into these gosh, that's so dumb when like people are so concentrating on macronutrients, meaning so we have protein, we got carbohydrate, we got fat, and people get all wound up about it. Like, oh my God, like I'm tracking the macros on this. I need to get more protein. Even my little daughter is doing that. Like, Dad, is there enough protein in this? I'm like, well, you've been listening to TikTokers too much. Like it really is the wrong thing to be focusing on for people. People should really be looking at is how processed is this food? How many chemicals are in this food? How much junk is in this food? And that's where the whole food plant-based diet comes in. So you're exactly right. It is minimally processed plant-based food. So that would be anything that comes from the earth, right? So examples like milk doesn't grow on trees, right? So that would not be plant-based. Meat, animals, like that's not plant-based. So like basically dairy and meat, fish, like that kind of stuff is, eggs are in a different category. So, and I feel like people struggle with it because it's like, okay, where I find it so easy, like, okay, like for breakfast, like an apple is a whole food plant-based, like why is that so hard to figure out? Like, so it's that minimally process aspect of it that's so important. The other thing to really focus on with that is that just because you're eating a whole food plant-based diet doesn't mean that you don't eat meat or you don't eat dairy or fish or deer meat if you hunt. Like it just means that that's probably less of your diet.
That's a key point, I think, because when people hear that, I think they think with any diet, this is it. I can't have anything else. This is this box. I can, if it's not in this, and I don't mean the processed box. I just mean a figurative box. If it's not in here, I can't have it.
And I agree. And, that's where it's like, I feel like it's the easiest diet to implement. So you're going to be eating unprocessed plant foods. And then you're going to also have, if you want to have some dairy, maybe it's one serving a day. If you want to have some meat, maybe it's just one serving a day versus most Americans are eating multiple servings of meat and dairy at every single meal. Like cheese is almost in every, every one of it's on our sandwiches. It's on our, it's mixed into our dinner meals. It's all over the place. Dairy's, really woven through the American diet. We have milk with breakfast, or we have, so I think that the best guidelines I've ever heard, and this is from one of the, foremost individuals that researches and does all the studies, spent his entire life on nutrition. That's all this guy does at Harvard University. His recommendation was one serving of meat and one serving of dairy a day. And I feel like that is completely doable. And it makes, being able to have that makes the plant-based diet so much easier to do. Because then you can still have a serving of eggs in a day. You can still have a serving of, dairy if you like yogurt or something like that. So
I was going to ask you, so yogurt is dairy, right? That's not even though it's processed though, but it's not.
It's processed in a weird way. Cause the processing is kind of an interesting thing because just because a food's processed doesn't automatically make it bad. It just usually does. So, so 90% of processed foods are the worst, most noxious, horrible things for you to be eating. Also, 90% of the foods in the grocery store are highly processed, but there's 10% of them that are actually probably pretty good for you and they have some processing. So when you ferment a food, that's processing, right? So you're fermenting the yogurt, they're doing some things to it. It's funny though, I make yogurt at home and there's really not that many ingredients to it. So if you can make it, so I make it with half and half, grass fed, organic, half and half. And then you throw some bacteria in it and you put it in, and you put a little bit of prebiotic fibers in there. It's super easy to make. And you put it in a yogurt maker and 36 hours later, you got yogurt. It's really, but I processed it, right? I processed the food, but I would contend that's probably one of the healthier foods to eat because it has live bacterial cultures in there that are healthy for my body. So that's where the nuances come. Where talking to somebody who has some nutritional background can help you pick, versus having, you could have dairy and it could be chocolate milk. Okay, now that's a really bad choice, because it has multiple different bad things added to it. It has really minimal value. I just think that that's not a good choice. So it's feathering that stuff, but really the crux of a whole food plant-based diet is a less processed plant-based diet. The other thing, Jack, is that you have to have a diversity of foods in that diet. So you can't just eat apples all day, like, or
Right.
carrots. I'm curious to see what she's going to say so hard about it, because like, pick out your 15 different favorite fruits. You can eat those at every single meal if you want. I mean, fruit isn't evil. It's not bad. It's nature's medicine cabinet. Berries are one of the healthiest foods you possibly could eat. Pick out your 15 different vegetables that you like the most. Then like pick out some whole grains if you're into that. Pick out some beans if you like that. And you just can create these really, really wonderful meal plans that are very life-sustaining and have all the things that we need in them. But the main thing is they can't be processed. So.
Well, the thing, one of the first things that when you said that about all the diets, one of the things that immediately came to me is that the whole food plant-based diet isn't sexy. I mean, the vegan, you have to find all these things they have, like, I'm doing this. You can proudly say, or I'm doing the Mediterranean diet.
Yes.
I mean, these things that have, and versus, oh, you mean just fresh fruits and vegetables? That's boring. I mean, what can I have some pizzazz to my dietary plan? I would think that's maybe people aren't aware of this, but I thought of that right away. I was like, it's so easy, not easy. It's so simple. It should be easy, but it's not.
It should be easy. And then obviously, like, I still follow the 90-10 rule. So like 10% of my meals are whatever I want. If I want some ice cream on the weekend, I'm going for it, but if 90% of what you're eating is healthy, you can eat whatever the hell you want. If you want to eat, I know you love pizza, you love to gorge yourself with it. You can have as much pizza as you want, but it just can't be every day. It just, that's where people fall into this pattern where they think every single meal has to be this extremely indulgent experience where they're getting tons of salt, tons of refined sugar, tons of refined carbohydrate, and that's where, things just, the wheels fall off the bus. The body is not meant to intake those types of foods. They are highly processed. They're very unusual. That never occurred in the history of mankind, over the way since the inception of our species. Like, we never ate those kinds of foods. Our bodies are not set up to have them. That's why diabetes, obesity, heart disease, everything is just running rampant throughout our country. And everybody has that thick middle section as they get into middle age, because they can't lose that fat because they're eating all these foods, and a good example, it's funny. I'm in my 50s now.
Mm-hmm.
I am the same weight I was when I graduated high school. My brother, so like, just to make a genetic comparison, my brother, who has the exact same genes as me, same parents, he's like 300 pounds. But he eats
first of all, I can't even believe that anybody in your family you're not all fanatics. I mean, I should know better, but immediately that's what I think of. I think a family of gymnasts or something.
Right. Yeah, but it's weird. But it's been interesting. I have the same genes as him. I've just eaten very different from him over the course of decades, and it's interesting to watch him age. He, not to say anything bad of my brother, but I feel he looks a lot older. He's has multiple health issues, high blood pressure, things like that he's dealing with, where I really, other than, having the startings of heart disease, which I'm not symptomatic, I just have some plaques in my arteries, in my heart, like, there's nothing I can do about that now. But, it's interesting to see the difference that comes from diet and exercise.
Well, and the thing that you bring that is so important to me is awareness. I mean, making people, if you can make them think about, they're not always going to make the right choice, but they're saying, well, this time I'm going to have the peanut M&Ms, but but at least they know, rather than grapes, another sweet alternative. We've talked about bread before, because I don't like all bread, but that's a weakness of mine, is I like bread in so many ways. It's just not a great thing for you, but if you have it sometimes, and and you find substitutes for it.
I mean, maybe every breakfast isn't bread, but like many times we'll feed our children like a organically sourced sourdough bread, so it doesn't have all the chemicals. There's so many things that come with the processed foods. Like, bread is a highly processed food, right?
Yep.
It doesn't automatically make it bad. There are better breads, there's worse breads, but like, if you get one that doesn't have the mold inhibitors and like all that other junk in it, and then you put good stuff on it. So you put like healthy natural peanut butter on there, or, and you have it with fruit, like some berries, like, that's actually not a half bad meal. You know what I mean? It's not automatically, because you can mix in some of those So if you're doing your meal, you can have some of it that is maybe slightly more processed, but then have the rest of it that is a lot less processed or not processed at all. And I think that counteracts a lot of the problems.
Well, you just made me think of something, Ben. Remember, I don't know if you remember this, when I was younger, probably in my 20s, there was a big craze going through the country, and it was when people started getting these bread makers for at home.
Oh, yeah.
They would
Yeah.
just throw the stuff in.
Yep.
So doing that, would that be a way to get, if you wanted to have bread, you pretty much can control what you put in the bread. I don't know how they work. I don't know if they require a certain amount of terrible food for them to work or not. But
no, you can make a healthy bread in a bread maker. It's just, you got to find organic flour. You can get that on Amazon. I just find it easier to order from the companies that produce those bread products. So I order my bread from a company. It's an Amish company that I think they do a really nice job. Everything's organic, no chemicals added. So it's just the things that they used to make bread with back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
So if your bread doesn't mold, don't eat it. In my opinion.
Right.
So set your bread out for a couple of days. If it doesn't mold, you shouldn't be eating that bread.
Yeah.
Because a lot of that crap, a lot of the chemicals in the processed foods are really bad for you. Cancer causing agents, hormone disruptors, all kinds of bizarre stuff is in that food. And no one knows what it does to people, but I can tell you, I know it does something bad because so many people are sick, so, and everyone argues about why is everybody sick? I think a really good place to start would be eliminating chemicals from your diet, so, and that's why the whole food plant-based diet works so well. And it works well for every different category of disease that human beings get as they age. So cancer, heart disease, diabetes, obesity, all the diseases that really kill us and make our lifestyle, the way we're living our life, it impacts it and makes it worse, is affected positively by these diets. So I just want to give you a definition. Here's my definition.
Okay. All right.
Of when you look at a food, you want to see that they have not taken anything good away from the food, which what they usually take away from most of the plant foods, they take the fiber out, right? So when they make white bread, they remove all the fiber. When they, many of them make a cracker, they've removed all the fiber from that food, which fiber is super, super good for you. And then typically they add bad things in. So when you're looking for a food, you want to have something that has no bad things added into it. So chemicals, sugars, things of that nature. And then you want to have nothing bad taken or nothing good taken away from it. So that's kind of how I look at it, so and that's where you come into things. It makes it really easy if you're eating an orange. You don't really have to worry too much about anything bad being put in there or taken away.
Right. That's true. Okay.
Or almonds or whatever.
Yes.
There's just so many different categories of food. I feel like people don't explore it enough. I was eating the typical high protein. I will tell you this protein craze that's going on right now is the dumbest thing ever. It's the dumbest thing ever. It's been going on for a long time, hasn't it, Ben? All they do is they keep switching macronutrient every couple decades. There was the anti-carbohydrate craze, and was the anti-fat craze, then the anti-carbohydrate craze, which we're in right now, meaning that now we're focusing on protein as the golden child macronutrient. And I got to tell you, it's BS. It's complete BS. And people that take in these enormous sums of protein, it's not going to kill you right away, but your risk of cancer, heart disease, all kinds of things go up because many times that food also is, if you're doing it with meat, your saturated fat goes through the roof. And protein is a very active growth promoting substance. And if you're in your 50s or 60s and you're jacking your diet with tons of protein, that's my opinion, more risk of cancer, more risk of some of these other bad things happening, which might not happen to you right away. And I guarantee you the research is already out on this. This is not I'm saying anything that's crazy. The research is out on this. It's just going to take a while to filter in because it's the hot thing right now. And I'm making my thought is that I think in the next 10 years, protein will be demonized, and they're gonna lift up one of the other macronutrients. Well, we really should be focusing on fat. We need monounsaturated fats, drink olive oil. We need to be focusing on that. It's just so dumb. I think don't focus on any of that. Just focus on getting very high quality, good foods. Most foods have a nice blend of the macronutrients in them, so you don't really have to, and you're doing one serving of meat, dairy a day, you're getting tons of protein from that. people need way less protein than they think.
Hmm.
What people need more of, Jack, is fiber, and they don't.
Yes.
Like, we are a fiber deficient country, and like that's again why the whole food plant-based diet is so helpful. I think a lot of it is like, when you look at it, like so something about the relationship of the fiber when you get all these different types of fiber from the plants, that it does something to our bodies that they don't even fully understand yet. So it's like, I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah,
I just
it
thought that was such an interesting thing that she kind of gave up on the whole food plant-based diet. It's like, oh God, like this is what's the hardest one to implement. Oh my gosh, it's so hard to eat.
man.
It's so hard to eat real food. It's like I don't know. It's like, eat the food that your grandparents ate, and you're probably eating a whole food plant-based diet.
It's like the much maligned potato.
Yeah.
A potato is not a bad food if you just eat the potato. Do you ever eat potatoes, Ben?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Do you add anything for a little flavor? Because it's kind of bland, right? A potato's
Yeah,
not the
potatoes are bland. Like, I go all over the place. I do a lot of sauerkrauts and kimchis, and mustard's a really great, additive for things that it doesn't have anything bad in it. But you're right. Yeah, that when the sour cream comes out and like the other things that you're putting on the potato that are really bad, it can be problematic. Potatoes are not my favorite food, so I'm not a really good source for like how to spice them up. I know there's ways to do that.
Yeah.
I know if you chopped up the potato, put tons of put a little bit of olive oil, tons of spices on it, and baked it, you could probably make something delicious. Like it's not something I don't really like potatoes. So I'm more of a bean, whole grain, fruit, vegetable, nut is kind of my wheelhouse. You know what?
Yeah. I got you.
There are a gazillion recipes for how to, spice up potatoes and make it taste delicious.
And certain people love the thing they like about cooking is all the spicing and seasoning that they can do. I mean, you can do that to regular. It doesn't have to be to casserole. Something that's not.
Yeah, you don't have to make something crazy. You want to make it real easy. Chop up a potato. Usually you got to put something on there to get the spices to stick. Some type of healthier oil. That's a whole nother discussion. And then, you plop on the spices and you bake it. Like, there's a whole food, plant-based food right there. Bang. Minimal processing. Spices are some of the healthiest substances you can put in your body. Turmeric is an example.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
I mean,
Turmeric.
most anti-inflammatory substance on earth is turmeric, so it's like, well, why don't you spice up your potatoes with some turmeric and a couple other spices that go well with that and create this amazing, healthful dish for you that's very satisfying.
Yeah.
You probably have to couple it with something else, but,
Yeah. All right. All right. I get you. As usual, you're making a lot of sense. I do have this. I have two diet related questions for you.
All right. Okay. What do you got?
The first one, I know the first one is I always don't know if you're going to go along with it or be outraged because it seems to be a trend, and it is an additive, I guess, or
you're going to say colostrum?
A supplement. No, a supplement. Okay. Chicory root fiber.
Mm-hmm.
Are you familiar? The reason I saw a thing on this said it talks about the things that you talk about. The chicory root fiber, prebiotic fiber known as inulin, naturally found in the chicory plant. It feeds here's what I thought of you, the beneficial bacteria in your gut, which ferment the fiber and produce compounds called short chain fatty acids.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess it makes you not feel as you don't feel as hungry. The gist, what I understood from the article that I read was like, all these people are doing the Ozempic and all that kind of stuff to reduce their appetite. That's dangerous shit. Try the chicory root fiber. It's a natural way. You have to do it for 8 weeks. You have to do 10 grams. What do you say or do? Is this another hocus pocus supplement of the week?
I don't think there's anything wrong with taking in some of the fiber. So that's they take it from a plant. It's a processed fiber from the plant. That's the exact fiber that I use to ferment my yogurt. So I made a batch. I have specific strains of bacteria I'd like to put in my yogurt and make it. It's kind of fun. I feel like a mad scientist, like creating this weird thing. But anyways, that's the fiber that I use.
Good description of you.
Yeah, totally. Everything I recommend, I do myself. So but yeah, I think that is a great. It could be a nice additional supplement thrown in a shake or however you want to do it. I just don't think it's a substitute for fiber. So when the problem that people get into when they look at like, oh, I'm just going to take 30 grams of fiber from Metamucil or chicory root or inulin. Like, there's some benefit to that, but it does not give you the same benefit as getting a diverse, because like we've talked about this many times, every single different type of plant has a different type of fiber. So like you need the diversity. You need to have, it's like you want to have like 30 different plant sources throughout your week. So if you're just doing chicory root, that counts as one. You have 29 more to go.
Right.
So, and then you got to do, say you coupled your potatoes with a salad, and in the salad you had 15 different plant types in there. Boom, you just did potatoes, some of the spices. You can knock out like 20 in one meal if you're just a little creative.
Okay, that's better than I thought. Usually, your eyebrows start twitching when I bring
No,
up
I'm fine with that. There's a place for fiber supplements, like or prebiotic fiber, like all that stuff. I think there's a place for it, but I don't think it replaces the food.
Yep. Yeah.
It can be used in conjunction.
All right, one last one, and this is about one thing you love, which is coffee. And we also both read Arnold's newsletter. Sometimes I don't get to it, but did you see the thing about that he covered this week about the headline was, do you like sugar with your coffee and cream? Did you happen to see that one?
No.
It's about studies but saying that coffee really unlocks better health. Drinking 1 to 3 cups of coffee per day was linked to 15% lower risk of death, but only when it wasn't loaded with sugar and fat.
Yep.
And these are long. Researchers tracked nearly 50,000 adults for up to 11 years, blah, blah, blah. People who drank black coffee improved their mortality. This adds up to 4 cups a day, prevents some kind of cancers, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and Parkinson's. However, those who added more than a half a teaspoon of sugar or more than 1 gram of saturated fat per cup, about 1 tablespoon of half and half, or 3.5 tablespoons of whole milk, saw these benefits disappear.
So that's a perfect example of taking something that's healthy and adding bad substances to it and then making it not as healthy or not healthy at all. So I'm a huge advocate of coffee. Most of the research, like 80 to 90% of it that I've read, has been incredibly supportive of coffee drinkers, with that caveat that it's black coffee. So I drink it every day. I probably have about 4 cups of coffee a day. I love it. It's my morning ritual. I do not put anything in it other than, I'll show you what I put in it. So I have, it's almost like I knew you were going to ask about this. So I have this stuff called dirt food.
Yep.
And I'm not like a sponsor of dirt food or anything. It's just when you want to make your coffee taste a little bit like something. So dirt food is a mixture of like turmeric, Ceylon cinnamon. There's a little bit of pepper in there. It's a bunch of different spices that you can put in your coffee that are all good for you. And you blend it up. I think there's like 5 calories in a serving of this. It's basically non-caloric. And it's all whole food stuff in there. It's like you're putting in basically this one little substance here knocks off about 5 different types of fiber for you. Plop it in there, blend it up. And that's a great way to have your coffee and make it healthier, right? Versus taking your coffee and making it crappy because you just put a bunch. My wife and I have this argument all the time. She uses International Delights creamer. I'm like, that is the crappiest. I don't want to use any swear words. That's the crappiest stuff I've ever seen. You drink. Why are you drinking that? And we have this like fight over it because she does it every day. And that's what I don't like when people get in these unhealthy habit loops where they do it every day. I used to put that in my coffee when I was younger. I used to have, it has to be sweet. I have to get it has to be sweet. If I put that in my coffee now, once your taste buds adjust to eating real food, that stuff tastes so crappy. It tastes so artificial. It's almost like, it's disgusting, You basically have to rehabilitate your taste buds so that they start to, enjoy the things that are good for you. It takes just a teeny bit of work to do it. But once you've done it, it's just like with a kid. Like Jack, I feel like I have to introduce you to these concepts. You have to try them at least 14 times. And then suddenly your taste buds are going to be like, oh yeah, he was right. That actually doesn't taste that bad. I can't imagine going back to the other way I was doing it. So I'm 100% in agreement with what Arnold said there.
Okay. Just to clarify what you just said, you just said you put the dirt food, then you blend it. Do you mean you stir the coffee?
It's an immersion blender. So you can do a spoon. You can do a wire whisk, whatever. I just one of those little buzzy things.
Yep.
I just do that because it blends it in there really good.
Yep.
Yeah, and dirt food is something we sell it here at the health club. I only sell a couple different types of things here that I think are really, really healthy for you. You can buy this on Amazon. You don't have to get it here. You can get it wherever the heck you want. I don't care. I just would love to see your audience not put cream and sugar in their coffee. Like, I mean, are they 5? Like, why do you need to put cream and sugar in your coffee? You're still eating Fruit Loops? Maybe you can have that with a bowl of Fruit Loops with, I just don't know why you have to make your coffee taste like candy. Does your coffee have to taste like candy? It's not Halloween every morning, right? You don't need to have that happening. So
it took a few minutes, and it's a thing that you even agree with. But you never know. It's gonna set you off.
I just gotta get people's mindset shifted. It's like you're turning your coffee into a dessert, and you're having it first thing in the morning. It's the dumbest thing ever. And I did it. I did it for years. And I also had the beginnings of heart disease. So was that part of it? Was it part of it? I was blasting my body with refined sugar and saturated fat first thing in the morning when I got up. I don't know.
The lesson is, kids, there's always time to try and something new that's good for you. Just because you've always done it that way doesn't mean that's the way it has to be.
You can switch. You can make small changes. That'd be a great small change to make. Like, hey, I'm not going to do anything with my diet, but I am going to start to put something healthy in my coffee and try it. So it's dirt food, just like it sounds. Yep.
Okay.
Put some dirt in your coffee.
Ground coffee.
Yes. Yes. Totally.
All right. Well, as usual, you never disappoint, Dr. Ben. I really appreciate it. That's great. Oh, awesome. Man, you're great. Well done. Have a healthy day. Stay away from those processed monsters out there. And
I will.
We'll talk to you next week. Thanks much.
Food choices. Okay. Bye.
Your food choices. One last shot. Oh, he is something. That's Dr. Ben, folks. Can't beat him. See ya.